Meanwhile, there's a little boy with his little penis hanging out of his pants. And he's a little boy, so he like falls over on his hands and he's a lot and like just like moons us.
Of course. Oh my god.
Right? Yeah, and we're all like, I don't know, and he's in the center of the circle. Where do I look from here?
How is it?
Alright, do adjectives I'd say fresh and fruity.
Well, hello there. Thank you for joining us. I, of course, am Darby, and I'm joined by my amazing expat friend, John. This is John. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us where you're from.
My name is John, as Darby has said. I'm from America, the great country of America. The eastern side of America, you might have heard of a state called Pennsylvania.
Never heard of it. Where is it?
It's great. It's between Washington, D.C., New York City, Eastern Seaboard.
Cool. Excellent.
Doesn't touch the sea.
So, John's an expat, as you may know. He's been living in China for how long?
About 3 or more years.
That is a very long time. So a little bit longer than myself, so I was very interested in talking to John for that reason. John has a lot of good experiences.
And Dad.
And of course, as
person.
we all do. Today we are drinking I Heart Wine wines. This brand is just right around the corner from us. It's really good. It says UK on the back.
Indeed, I noticed.
So I thought it was a China thing, but like a China company, but I think it's more of a UK company. So hence the website. So if people know about I Heart Wine, do tell.
Pinot Grigio.
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 Pinot Grigio. Fresh and crisp. Let's have a try. Cheers. This time I will be able to say, no.
Okay, fine. Guess we're equals or something.
Ooh, love that.
Wow,
Yeah,
buttery.
it is.
Yeah.
It's more of an intense sensation. I don't know anything about wine. I don't. Moving on. John,
That's my name.
let's talk about when you first came to China.
Okay.
You came to China a couple years ago, as we previously mentioned. When did you first arrive in China?
My first arrival in China was actually in 2009.
What were you doing here at that time?
I was a high school student,
Okay.
and it was during the summer. I had been nominated for a student exchange tour, so to speak. I don't really know of any Chinese people that came in my place to America.
Mm-hmm.
However, I came to China for about 2.5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Sat in a bus for a long time in between major cities.
Oh.
I saw a lot of touristy things like Xi'an. Made a
Very
little
nice.
terracotta warrior. That's something a little mold, put some clay in.
Oh, so cool.
look at that.
Do you still have it or anything?
No, the legs fell off. So
Really wish I could have shown that. That would be great.
I have a model. Should I go get it? I have a similar model.
The model?
Yeah.
Well, go get it.
Okay.
Can I? Let's have a look. That's
Sure.
It's pretty cute. It looks like you a little bit.
You think? The top knot and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You grew your hair out for this. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's great. So you got it in Xi'an.
That was a gift.
Okay, so you're in Xi'an. Then what?
Of course, Beijing, Xi'an.
Mm.
Then came down to Shanghai, I think by way of Suzhou.
Very good.
I, however, did not come to Nanjing for that trip.
Okay.
First time in Nanjing, where we are now, I came as a student, which is study abroad. I went to school in the States, and then my junior year, having studied already 2 years of Chinese, I was looking into programs in China. I was very concerned about Beijing's air pollution.
Oh yes, of course.
Shanghai, I've heard and can confirm, is essentially just New York City with Chinese characteristics.
Can confirm as well.
Yeah, and I hadn't really heard of any other Chinese city. Besides maybe Xi'an, but I was like, that's too far west. And Nanjing, as I was looking into it more and more, you know, it's not as polluted as Beijing. It's in southern China, so they speak how I think it is more clear Mandarin. And so I just signed up for a 1 semester long program studying abroad. I ended up actually living across the street from where we are right now.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, for a semester.
So what was it first like when you first came to China for the first time? What shocked you? Do you remember it very well? I know it was a few years ago.
We had just arrived as a cohort of students. There were about 12 of us in the program. All of us were American. College students. And we all went a mile away or so to a lake for team building activities. Get to know each other, names, interests, whatever.
Actually, no, I'd be down. That sounds
fun. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Until we were standing in a circle doing this team building rope passing thing.
Of course. The hula hoop through the hands kind of?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
In Waddles, this little boy, oh, so cute, right? His grandma's like, oh, you should go, like, interact with the foreigners,
of course.
right?
Little kids that are, like, obsessed with the foreigners.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh my God. What
they
is
don't,
this?
like, we're standing in a circle, but he's probably just starting to walk, 1.5, 2 years old.
Oh, cute.
But didn't know how to use the bathroom by himself. And I knew that because, as is common in China, no diaper and split pants.
Oh, yep.
So,
what are the split pants?
As Westerners, we're pretty used to diapers, would you say?
Yeah.
In China, the views are a little different. They're like, why would we waste all the cloth or whatever? Just keep your pants open. Teach your kid right away from like Pavlovian methods. If you feel like you have to pee, like, I don't know, you ring a bell or something. They make some kind of indication. And mom or dad or grandma or grandpa at that point just like kind of hold him over a gutter most of the time. Or if they are even too young to know the signal, they just go.
I have seen this happen.
This
it was a little shocking.
Yeah, exactly. And imagine like being in a circle with foreigners, including young women. Meanwhile, there's a little boy with his little penis hanging out of his pants. And he's a little boy, so he like falls over on his hands and knees a lot and like just like moons us.
Of course. Oh my God.
Right? Yeah, and we're all like, I don't know, and he's in the center of the circle. Where do I look from here? Can you get his grandma in here?
He's right in front of your view. Oh no, I'm gonna look, pretend I don't see him.
You know, in America, like that's, if you look at a child's butthole, that's not your child. That's, you know.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. That was one of the first shocking experiences. So, in conclusion, yeah.
I'm just holding your view. Cheers.
Okay.
Cheers to a shocking conclusion. Rosé.
Yeah, on to rosé. Whoa.
Zinfandel Rosé. Oh, I love that. Woo.
It's a little hard on my nose.
A little hard.
Yeah, like it gets up. I don't know. Maybe it
gets up in there. You and I are both vegetarian.
Pretty recent for me, but yeah.
Pretty recent for you.
I'm trying.
It's been pretty great going with John places because I know that his Chinese is better than mine, and he can help me order, and we both get stuff without meat, so it's a pretty safe bet. Do you want to maybe mention why you decided to go vegetarian? Has it been since you came to China?
It has. I've met a lot of people in China who have been vegetarian. I've been inspired because, like, you know, I've been flirting with the idea since before I came to China. I agree with the morality of vegetarianism. Like, I agree that the factory farming of animals for our benefit is morally kind of unacceptable, to love animals and also to eat them. It seems in the way that we do. Like, if you know, there's probably more humane ways of killing animals than eating them.
Okay.
We've been doing it for centuries as human beings, right? Millennia even. But what it's evolved to has been beyond what I can morally justify.
Okay.
And then, but that didn't stop me from eating meat, because I was like, especially when I first got here.
Yeah.
And they have these big Chinese-style banquets where, like, every other dish is meat, and you really have to, your hosts are showing off to you, like, look, I can afford the beef, which is expensive in China. I can afford the duck, which is delicious. One of the most fond memories of meat that I have. And beef, duck, pork is ubiquitous. To the point that they put it in their bread as flavoring. Pork, not even
floss, the pork floss?
Floss.
Yeah.
I've
accidentally eaten that so many
think
times.
about the words pork and the words floss and try to put that together in their mind, those two concepts. It can be frustrating for the reasons I just explained, that like you say, I don't want any meat, they're like, okay, cool, here's a fish. How does that not mean?
Yeah.
Or you say, I'm vegetarian, okay, so like, I'll cook you up some vegetables in lard. Or, you know, pork.
Yeah. I would say that that's kind of the biggest thing I've experienced is people, like, back home in Canada, you have people who understand. You tell them, oh, I'm a vegetarian, can I have this without the meat?
Right.
They will understand what that is. They'll say, okay, I know what a vegetarian is. I will not put the meat in. Sometimes you might get like an eye roll or a, really? Okay. But here, I have many people don't understand it. Mm-hmm. Like I order a brunch at our favorite brunch place, and I'll ask for it because it's a platter of like eggs and French toast, and it's amazing. Mm. And I'll ask for it without the meat, and they will look at me like, can we do that? Is it possible?
There are a lot of vegetarian dishes in China.
That's
There's a long period in their history where meat was very scarce, and people just adapted. They made dishes that tasted great without using the expensive meat.
Yeah.
That being said, since China has developed, they do tricky stuff like put meat back into the dishes that used to be completely vegetarian, like tofu. You can buy a tofu dish, which in America, you would say, I want a tofu burger or something, and it would be assumed there'd be no other meat in it. Here in China, tofu is more of an ingredient than a meat substitute, which has its pros and cons.
Indeed. Speaking of pros and cons, let's do our Merlot.
Merlot.
Smooth and soft. It smells rather nice. I'll let you know.
No, please.
That is rather pungent.
I got some cinnamony notes.
I like it. For red wines, I'm not a red wine person. Tend to stay away from red wine. But I think this, I like this. This is my seal of approval.
Veganism, I would say, is very difficult.
Yeah, I would agree. I have actually yet to ever eat at a vegetarian restaurant here. When I came, I thought I would kind of stick to vegetarian stuff, but it's pretty easy just to be vegetarian. You don't have to go to vegetarian places. You just, you can cook stuff at home if you have that ability.
Right.
You can find the typical vegetarian stuff on the menu. I think my biggest advice would be learn the characters for meat.
Yeah, China.
To be able to recognize it on a menu, right?
China and the Chinese language has a really interesting way. Like I like it a lot.
Yeah.
You look at a menu and it says there's rice and vegetables and meat. And this dish is called rice vegetable meat or meat vegetable rice. Really, is how it's written. But once you learn those characters, even if all the other characters to you are gobbledygook, if you see the meat character, there's meat. And with few exceptions, that's how they label their dishes on the menu. So when I first came to China, I was actually a lot better at Chinese, I would say, than I am now. To the point that and I still do, obviously, but China is full of regional dialects and accents. One of the funnier ones here in Nanjing, where we are, is southern China, where the N's and the L's tend to kind of merge in the speaker's mouths, even in speaking Mandarin.
Yeah.
So that transfers over to when they speak English as well. One time as a student here, I had several mistakes. First and foremost, I reversed the words for milk tea. I said tea milk, which was obviously incomprehensible. But not only that, the person I was purchasing the milk tea from was a Nanjing person. And I had to actually adjust it myself to say liu lai as opposed to niu nai.
I've heard that before.
Until I finally got the tea. I was in the car with one of my Chinese friends one time, a pretty recent person, a person I met recently. And I was speaking Chinese. They're like, actually, can we switch to English? And I said, okay, sure, yeah, practice your English. And he struggled through the first sentence, and then I apologized to him. And he said, I'm sorry, my English is so poor. I'm a cookie. I said, well, I'm sorry, I don't understand.
What? A cookie?
You're a cookie. I tried to translate it back into Chinese. I was like, you're like a bingan. And he's like, what? No, I'm a cookie. Turns out what happened was he had a really good reading vocabulary in English. And he remembered this word, except the letters were off. He remembered the word rookie.
Oh.
And the R in his mind, C.
Became changed.
Yeah, as an English speaker, you're like, I would never associate cookies and rookies.
Yeah.
But
that's
like,
really
you look
funny,
at the word written down, you kind of.
John and I are both teachers. We both teach at the same company. I teach the younger students. John teaches slightly older. Can you talk about what your experience has been teaching grades 4 and 5? And if you like that grade, do you find it challenging? Do you find it fun? Is it, in your opinion, the best grade?
This is probably the only native English that they're hearing, besides maybe in movies.
Yeah, totally.
And so it's my job to provide a structured but yet authentic, natural English speech for them that is at their level, which is that's the challenge.
Yeah.
So as a performer, you can get up and you can like hit yourself on the head and they all laugh and like, think that they're learning English, but then you also have to. The challenging bit is if you you need to make them understand stuff.
So how is the level of your students? What do you think? Do you think it's easy to make a lesson based on their level?
Yeah, I think this is actually a pretty great time in their development because they've had the basics. They know, you know, they've learned he versus she, which is, but they still mix it up a lot. They know generally, you know, they're not starting from zero. They know the word order in English. They know roughly a little bit about tense. This is, of course, my students are at what I've been told is a really great school, and so they've been learning for a long time. They're pretty rich. Most of them have had outside families.
Yeah,
they've had outside tutoring.
Outside tutoring,
even if it's by a Chinese person. They have a lot of English theory. They like to play the games. You know, you get to high school and it's like pulling teeth to try and get the students out of there.
It's true. Yeah.
I've taught a couple of grade ones in like individual classes. So that's fun.
Yeah.
If you know the basics.
Yeah. So you finish your wine. I'll talk a little bit. So I teach 1, 2, and 3. So they're a little bit younger than 4 and 5. And I've also done a few special lessons for 4 and 5 and a little bit older kids. And I would definitely say that it's a different world teaching the first, second, and thirds, the grade 5s. I actually think grade 5 is like almost the best level to teach in my opinion. They just have the exact right amount of knowledge so that they can have enough fun and they still want to participate. So let's talk about this wine. What is this?
This is a Shiraz.
Shiraz. Pizzazz Shiraz. It is rich and spicy. Ooh, looking forward to that.
Ooh, yes, I like that.
Is it bad that I can barely tell the difference between these two?
Yes. Everyone, Judge Darby.
Oh no.
Take a moment, Judge Darby.
So let's talk a little bit, like, have you generally enjoyed your time in China? Are you glad you chose China over anywhere else to come and teach English? Like, how's your experience been, just in general? Would you recommend it to other people?
Yes. You don't have to speak language, of course, but they love you even more if you do.
I would argue that you kind of do have to speak the language. Like, when I came here, people said, oh, you could, like, my recruiter said, oh, you can get by perfectly fine if you don't speak any Chinese, because you can find English spots everywhere. But I would argue that it would be really difficult to have no Chinese.
For the most part, if you come with no Chinese, it's just really hard to use butting heads all the time. And then like you get upset when they stereotype you as a dumb foreigner. Yeah,
it's tough. The people that I see that come with no Chinese are the people that kind of get frustrated very quickly. Because you do need Chinese to do a lot of basic stuff. Interact with like the cashiers at the grocery store, the taxi drivers. If you need anything done like dry cleaned or printed off at a shop. Anything like that, you need a basis of Chinese. Of course, as we have some friends who maybe use Google Translate, just type in everything and show them.
There are ways around
you can do it.
Google Translate would be a little tough given the censorship in China of Google.
That's right.
But there are ways, yeah.
Actually, my Google Translate app works perfectly fine. Really? Yeah, I've never had a problem with the app. It works fine. So I have Google Translate app, works on my iPhone. So you just type it in and you show them and it works. So
yeah,
maybe sometimes the translation error, but it's really been like life would be just so much easier if I did speak fluently and if I did. It
would be easier, but I think it would take away from the romanticism of China. There's this mysterious kind of, always peeling back corners that you didn't know before. And if you just spoke fluently, it wouldn't be exotic.
Okay, I guess. All right. Okay. It has been pretty exotic for me because I've been learning Chinese since I've started here in August, and it's been quite the experience. It was really fun, like learning a word in class and then seeing or hearing people use it. Yeah. And you go, oh, I know what that meant. It's really fun. It is. I love it. We're language nerds, John.
Yeah, and I have an undergraduate degree in linguistics. Yeah. You've had taken a lot of linguistics classes, so you can relate. And I want the people at home to also relate that China, I say this a lot, has the opposite view of most of what we see in the West. Like, everything in China is the opposite. So if you just think of anything you think of. So, let's see. They don't drive on the wrong side of the road. That's England. Let's not talk about that. But, for example, verb tenses.
Oh, yes.
Linguistically speaking, who needs them?
Yeah.
That's something that, like, as an English speaker, you learn since you were in the womb. Verb tenses, right? You go to China, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, definitely to me, I had a really hard time kind of trying to create a sentence, like, assuming that tense doesn't matter. It is really hard.
Yeah.
Like, when you have to put your brain into that mindset.
Get this. No word for yes and no word for no.
Oh, that's right. I remember trying to start to learn Chinese when I was back home in Canada, and I was Googling how to say yes or no, and they couldn't give me an answer.
There are ways to say affirmative, or like that's correct, but they're all different words. And it's like overarching concept of yes and overarching concept of no is first word you're gonna learn is la wai. Like people are gonna point at you and they're gonna say that's a foreigner.
And oh my god, taxi drivers are the best.
If you can understand their accent.
Their accents are so strong. It's crazy. If you really want an experience with like an accent, taxi drivers, they get so excited when you can speak any Chinese. I'm really impressed.
I bet they'll teach you a lot of slang to get to that level.
Really impressed. And they ask you the base questions. Actually was in a Didi, Chinese Uber, the other day.
I think Didi actually owns Uber.
Knowledge bomb.
So it's actually...
But we were in a Didi the other day with a friend of mine, and he looks behind and he sees us and he goes, oh, like in Chinese he says, you're the first foreigners I've ever driven. And my friend goes like, what? What did he say? And I go, hey, we're the first foreigners. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. And he was really excited.
Thing,
he asked
like
us
visual
where we're
comprehension.
from.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Let's go.
Action.
Last one, Pinot Noir. I'm very excited. You shall pour.
Down the hatch.
That's pretty good.
That reminds me a lot of the Merlot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well now, this is awesome.
Oh, Pinot.
Which one was your favorite?
I especially liked this one.
I
It's
agree.
just called Pinot Gris.
Grigio. Pinot Grigio. Pinot Gris. Actually, yes. I might say that this one was my favorite. After having that red, let me see. Let me try this back.
You're gonna have wine snobs all over the world just cringing in their seats.
We are paid to teach English and not to drink wine.
That being said, we have a lot of free time.
Yeah, actually, we're really lucky. Like, we have a heck of a good job that allows us a lot of free time. Actually, maybe this one was my favorite. I think I need to try them again, John.
That one was too watery. That was too light in my mouth. Mouthfeel was...
The mouthfeel?
Yeah, too light. Yeah, that's a real word. Look it up.
Ooh, I really like that though. We do have a lot of free time. We are lucky that we have a job. We're not required to work 40 hours a week. It's 18 teaching hours.
For some.
For some.
We're gonna 16-hour a week. Yeah,
our classes are 40 minutes, so we teach about, I have maybe 20 classes a week, and then 40 minutes, so I have that many teaching hours, and I get paid a good salary. So I would 100% recommend China for people who want to come teach, because you can really get a good job where you like the job, you get a good salary, and you get a low amount of hours. So it's a really great job for people who are fluent in English.
Yeah.
Having said that, not every single place you go, not every single job you get offered is going to be a good one. Mm-hmm. We have some friends who don't necessarily love their job.
That's true.
So it's not going to be easy for everyone. So really, like, look for a good one. Negotiate a good salary. And you'll be lucky and get something good. But there's one out there. Oh, there's just some in here. Love wine.
I heart wine.
I heart wine. I heart wine sincerely. Okay. Go, John.
Number one.
John's ranking.
Number two. Maybe even number 2,
Ooh.
3. Yeah, like this.
Okay.
1 to 6.
So we have the Pinot Grigio.
Word.
Rosé. Chardonnay. Shiraz. Merlot and Pinot Noir. So best to worst. So you also prefer kind of the whites then?
Yeah, I have a sweet tooth.
Okay, I think this one's mine.
Ooh.
I
Gotta
really
mix up that top.
I like the rosé has more of a flavor than the whites, even though the whites are pretty sweet, but the rosé has just more of a little pop to it.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. You haven't seen the last of this ugly mug. Yeah.
Whoa.
So, John, thank you. It was really excellent talking to you. Cheers.
Thank you.
It's been great. Hopefully we'll get more people on, more expat friends to be able to talk to them about their experiences in China.
Yeah.
It's been really great hearing about your experiences. If anyone has any questions for him, please.
I don't have a Twitter.
No, don't tweet at him.
Blocked. Facebook's blocked.
But feel free to comment. I'll be happy to answer any questions on his behalf and maybe let him even live through me a little bit through my YouTube or Facebook. But yeah, so thank you so much, John. It's been really great having you on. And
let's ganbei. All right, and how do we say goodbye in Chinese, Darby?
再见，
再见。
再见，
好，
谢谢朋友，
好，
再见。
好。